The TNT Podcast. Yes, we are 1 year old. We have graduated from, sucking on the nipple to now potentially drinking our own bottle. But we are here. We have been doing this now. Here is Tuna and Sam. Sorry, I forgot to introduce you. The 1 year anniversary and all this shit falls apart. But anyway, big show for us because just to kind of give you a little bit of a history of the TNT Podcast, we originally started on Twitter Spaces, believe it or not. And, the best part of this story is that none of us knew each other. And that's a kind of ironic, funny kind of way of things working out. I know it was Delvon who was actually, I remember when we first started this and I said, I reached out to Delvon, who was a guy that I just respected what he was doing at the time. And I said to him, hey, buddy, have you ever thought about doing a podcast? I'm thinking of starting something on Twitter. And he's like, sure. And for the first couple of episodes of the Friday Night Frenzy, I think, which is what we were called originally, Dalvon and I kind of did our thing. And then somewhere along the line, we picked up Tuna. I don't remember exactly how. And I know Sam popped in as well, I think through the connection through Dalvon. And
I think you reached out to me too. Honestly, I don't remember. I was on Twitter, and you're like, "Hey, are you interested in this?" I'm like, "Who the hell is this guy?"
Yeah, just a rant. And no, you know what's funny? Like, I never used to use Twitter, and I never used to use that platform, and then I just reactivated after I disabled it for a little while there, and of course, this fucking rando guy is coming up and saying, "Hey, I'm doing a podcast. Why don't you come on it?" And long story short, a year later. Here we are with the TNT Podcast, broadcast on all the kind of major.
He promised me candy and never got it either, so I'm kind of disappointed.
Well, I have to lure you in. Yeah, well, that's it, right? I had to lure him into a van first to give him the candy, but
right.
But we'll get to that. Yes, a pedophile joke to start the podcast. Okay, so on that note, let's jump into. Let's talk a little bit about what happened last week. So, Tuna. I don't know if you remember, Sam. We had a great show last week. We talked everything about the Apple big release, the event itself. We made fun of Tim Cook's face. We showed parts of their very environmentally focused video. And everything went well. It was one of our best podcasts of the 29 episodes that we've done. And then the next morning, I woke up Saturday morning. I got an email from YouTube saying that Apple had flagged our podcast, parts of our podcast, I should mention, with copyright. Now, I went back and I was like, oh, we did something wrong. And so in the email, what was funny, we didn't really show the entire video. We showed parts of it, back and forth, zipping back and forth between it. But anyway, they had a problem with one part of the video. And the one part of that environmental video that they flagged as copyright was the part where the dead flower, the dead plant, comes back to life. So I don't know if you remember in the environmental video where the actress, and I'm forgetting her name right now, Octavio Spencer, is it? I can't remember. Anyway, the actress who played Mother Nature in the Apple video, leaves and the plant in the lady's hand magically comes back to life and everything is good in the world of Apple again.
Well, on a side note, before you go any further, were the actors in that, were they all actors from Apple Plus shows? I don't have Apple Plus, so I don't know.
Not that I think so. I think we're led to believe that's how pretty Apple's, interior, people are. Besides the actress who played Mother Nature, the rest were, I'm just going to assume, average Joes, actual workers of Apple, but maybe I'm wrong there. But yeah, they flagged us for copyright, and I went ahead and edited part of it out, and we managed to get it back up. But, I think Tuna and I had this conversation right after, you've made it when Apple flags a 45-second spot in an hour and 15-minute show for copyright. And
you also forgot to mention. You also mentioned to me that you cried yourself to sleep when you found out. You were pretty upset.
It's true. Well, actually, it kind of shocked me because we've been doing this for a little while now, and we've never had anything flagged, and we show all kinds of shit on here. So it's interesting that
Apple cares.
That Apple cares. Yeah, they and why that part though? Like, what is the investment in that particular part of the video? Like,
It had to do something with environmental awareness, and I don't think we met that qualification. You know, we're not Our show is not quite carbon neutral enough.
That's correct. Yes.
So that's
yes.
We don't really produce anything, so I don't know how we can not be carbon neutral.
Well, we're Android users too.
Right. Yeah. That's just you breathing. But yeah, that's okay. I don't know. I mean, we're not like, we're not a manufacturer of carbon stuff. Ish. I don't know. Who knows, man? I mean, but it is nice the fact that we got a copyright strike. I almost feel kind of proud of it.
Yeah, I absolutely. Yes. I wouldn't change a thing. In fact, I may just show it again to see what happens. But strike 2. I don't know what YouTube strike 2 copyright looks like. It's probably
I don't want to find out.
I don't want to find out either.
You get a 7 days in the penalty box, I guess, as it were.
So 7 days is perfect because our next show will be right after that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We'll be back before
it's like when they suspend a major league pitcher. It's like, you realize they only pitch every 5th game, right? So if I get a 10-game suspension, I'm only missing 2. But okay, I get you.
Now, Tuna, you have a YouTube channel, and I know you do too, Sam, with your podcast. Now, have you ever had anything like that happen to you?
No,
I have.
Oh, no, but on our podcast, we don't. I mean, the YouTube channel really is just a vehicle for. It's really not even a live. You know what I mean? So we don't really show a lot of video. Right. We're not that sophisticated, so we don't like embed a lot of stuff, and so we just talk normally. We have guests, so we don't usually show stuff on screen, and we definitely don't like rock any video or anything. So that's probably why we've kind of sidestepped the copyright strikes, just because we don't kind of do anything that would really engender a copyright strike in that regard.
Right. And Tuna, you said you had been flagged before. What was that for, man?
Yeah. So when I edit my videos, which is very crude, I'm still learning. I put in, non-copyrighted music,
yes,
and the software I use provides that, so I'm pretty comfortable with that. But I started doing some YouTube shorts when they first started, and when you do a short YouTube app, if you're doing it through the app, they offer you here's all the songs you can pick from.
Oh,
and I picked the song and I posted it, and then a couple days later it said copyright. I'm like, what? It was your song, so I tried to go back and change it. Interestingly enough, I took the same video and posted it on TikTok, and they banned it too. And it was one of their songs too. So I don't know if it was something to do with the sound, the way it was recorded, or they went back and the band came back and said, we don't want that. But there was other people that were posting the same song from a different different source. Either way, it was a 15-second video. I just said F it.
The music for our show is actually created by a buddy of mine, so it's not only. I mean, he's kind of a hip hop guy. He lives in California now, and so local St. Louis kind of popular hip hop guy. So I grew up with him. So he was learning how to mix and do stuff. So these are basically all of the songs you hear at the beginning of our podcast, and then at the end of the trail. Those are all his practice beats.
Right.
So he's like, well, if your show ever gets popular, clearly I'll get royalties. I'm like, yeah. If we ever make $1, I'll definitely send you like 5 cents. I mean, it's just like so.
It's kind of like Flossie. He has that guy that made the sound test, and he's like,
Mark Rubier. Yeah. But like I said, he made it for Floss, right? So what's good about it? He made these beats, and really what they were was him practicing and kind of messing with stuff. So he gave me a whole bunch of stuff. So the music you hear is never going to be copyrighted because Matt basically made it.
It's original.
It's original, and he made it for us, and he said, "You do whatever you want with it." I don't really.
Okay, so I need to find some friends that are in a band. Basically. And have them write me a song for the TNT podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I've been asking Roddy to hum something, but he thought I meant hummer, and it just meant something completely different to him on his OnlyFans. So,
right. I was talking about the vehicle.
I actually have a buddy.
I mean, there's that too, but
I actually have a buddy who's a rapper. I don't think he's very big, but I could always reach out to a bunch of guys like us.
Tuna, if you want to have a crack at the rapping, the intro to the
not me.
I think Sam and I would appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. That's okay.
No.
My flow. I have no flow.
Well, for the 2-year anniversary, we are doing a open mic.
Yes,
we're gonna rap battle.
We're gonna have a rap battle. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. Speaking of OnlyFans and all of these, there was an article that came out today about the brand new $500 a month Tinder Elite tier. Now, I'm not making this up. This is 100% real thing. This is coming from Bloomberg, the business thing. So Tinder is offering now top tier daters. I don't know what a top tier dater is. I'm going to assume someone who fucks a lot or
No, it's probably one of those high value men and women.
Oh, right. So one of those types.
Right.
Yes.
Upper 1%.
So,
yeah.
$6,000 a year or $500 a month for unique access to features like an exclusive search and matching. Now, I don't know what that means. I was trying to figure this out. I was trying to do a bit of research on this. What is an exclusive match? Like, is that like you're matched with the Kardashians, or is it like, you're
more personalized? Maybe I don't know.
I think and I've seen this before in other apps where they have they have different kinds of qualifications, right? So you have and then you've got these people who they pay more money, so that way it's like an executive version of it. So people that it's like gatekeeping, right? So it's like anybody on this app who's willing to pay $500 or more, who's willing to spend that kind of money, they have to have qualifiers, right? They have to have, they have to be either a certain level of education, master's or above, right? They have to have, a certain lot of income that's validated, right? You got to validate your income, those kind of things. So that way you're not basically, you're having men and women who are professionals, right? They're maybe looking to date, but they don't want to date somebody who's more as a trade skill person. They want to date somebody who's more, a professional on a board, right?
Yes.
Those kinds of and style people that are in those echelons of maybe wealth in the
upper tier, the not us. Basically.
I don't think it's what it is. I actually think it's more like the champagne room.
Oh yes.
Dan's like,
maybe.
Do you know something about it?
It could be both. I don't know. But like I said, I've seen that before where they have these executive levels where it's executives. Like there are dating sites that are just specifically catered to people who are 250,000 plus, or who have certain levels of education, right?
Christian mingle.
Well, I just want to. I'm just reading a bit more about this. So it says here that Tinder Select, which is what it's called, has only been offered to less than 1% of users that the company considers extremely active. Extremely active. So I'm going to assume.
Let me check my email real quick.
Yeah, I know. Did you get it?
It's not you.
No,
nobody on this show.
Maybe Roddy. I mean, maybe. I mean, we don't know.
Maybe.
Is he single? I don't know. None of my business.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because just reading ahead here. How much do you think Tinder made last year?
The entire company?
So Tinder's and also their parent company, which is Match Group. So how much?
What else does Match Group do? I didn't know there was a group that.
Match.com.
I think they have I think that's Match.com. There's other subsidiaries.
Yeah. So we're talking about matchmaking or dating sites, right?
So yeah,
as a conglomerate, 200 million.
Oh, I'm going to say closer to. I don't want to say $1 billion. That's probably too much for them. 700 million. Don't say $1 either.
So. To give, this is up to date as we go, but just in the second quarter of 2023, they made $475 million.
Wow.
I'm in the wrong business.
I know, for real. Seriously, the business of love is apparently where we've all got to go to. But that's.
Are we
just
changing the podcast?
Quarter.
Are we changing this to a love podcast?
No.
Look at Sam. He's like, no.
Seriously, sponsored by Match.com. I'm all right with that. Tinder, we're here for you, buddy. We'll hook up whoever you want us to hook up.
Wait, I thought Tinder was. So his Match is more like actual legitimate kind of date.
Yes,
right? I thought Tinder was more
science.
Like the hookup.
Yeah, so I think it's part of
Tinder
the same group, basically, right? So I guess there's one part of their company that's dealing with actual relationships, and the other one
the hookup more of like a hookup culture, right?
Yes,
kind of like the Uber Eats of dating.
That's
delivering
Uber Eats.
But yes,
I'm here to deliver an experience for about 25 minutes.
Boy.
Might be 30. Maybe depends on.
You could have used DoorDash, but
Grubhub. I don't know.
Grubhub's not any better.
Right. Now, did you guys know that they have tiers of Tinder subscriptions? Am I the only one who doesn't know anything?
Yes, I knew that. No.
So there's a plus, a gold, and a platinum.
What,
20, 30, or $40.
Darren, you've been married for years. So have
I know.
I mean, how would we know?
I've been married for years too, so I don't know.
I know if you do know and your wife is listening to this, you definitely got some explaining to do.
I had no idea. No, just kidding.
Before you do that, you said that to my wife. She's not listening to this, but I have like 5 phones. And when I go to work, people are like, how many girlfriends do you have? I'm like, I don't have any girlfriends. I have a wife. But they assume that I'm a drug dealer, an arms dealer. I got mistresses everywhere.
Right.
Well, I mean,
yeah, I just but there would be really no honest reason why unless you use the service, they're tiering. I would assume there was with anything, but
so you say silver, gold, and platinum. Silver, gold, platinum.
Silver, gold, platinum. Yeah.
And now I guess the select
plus gold, platinum.
Well, here's the problem. That's like the iPhone, the Apple problem. So if you're a silver tier and you're on Tinder, they're like, "Oh, he's only silver. I'm looking for platinum. I want the big guy." You know, the big.
Well, the problem is if you're in the platinum tier, you probably don't even see anybody in lower tier.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
There you go. That would be.
They're probably totally like siloed, right?
You seem to know a lot about this.
Because it's like anything else in the world, right? It's like, why? Well, here's the thing. Clearly, if you're willing to pay $500 a year, you clearly aren't looking for the regular Tinder experience that you can get for free. Clearly, you're more of a discerning taste or target audience of people you're looking to either hook up with or date or whatever, right? You clearly, if you're investing $6,000 a year, you're not looking for what you can get on the free version.
God, $6,000 a year.
Holy that's a lot of money.
I know, but you understand. We're talking about people who probably in this tier who probably are making $500,000 or more.
Oh, easily. Yeah,
and
easily.
That's nothing to them. That means there's some people that paid twice that just to have golf memberships. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like, it's like nothing.
Yeah, but golf doesn't have that sleazy aspect. Like when you say platinum, is that the $500 a month?
You haven't played enough golf.
I don't golf at all, unfortunately.
I do terribly, but like I said, it's just I didn't know there were. But it makes sense if your company's making. Because think about it, the only way they could generate that kind of revenue is obviously having some kind of other ways to generate revenue other than just ads and stuff. There's just no way. They have to have some tiering.
$400 million in a quarter.
I mean, that's a shitload of money for just a dating site conglomerate.
I only brought in $350 million this year.
I know. Yeah, you're like you're below the
Yeah, you're bronze tier. Bronze tier.
Bronze tier. Listen, I want the Tinder tier that I don't have to pay for. I want the freebie tier. I want to see the quality options there.
Your wife may disagree.
I mean, of course, if I was a single man,
there you go. You gotta preference that.
Right.
I think there's a lot of people out there who probably treat Tinder kind of like a video game, right? Like, let's see how many kills can we get, how many wins.
That makes me. Whatever. We're not going to that.
I know we won't go into that, but anyway, just a fun little story to start off the podcast here. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the iPhone 15. So the iPhone 15 was released, is getting into people's hands this week. Is probably a better way to put it.
I think today. I think some people. It looks like either delivered today or people standing in line today. Yeah, today.
Yep. So my wife's, I ordered two. I ordered one Pro Max for myself and a Pro for the wife. Her Pro arrived today. First impressions, it's much lighter than my 14 Pro Max, but that might just be because it's a bigger phone and a smaller phone. But I compared it to her iPhone 12, which she's upgrading from, and there is a very interesting weight change. And what I mean by that is normally with the Pro phones, they are heavier. It feels a lot more like her standard iPhone 12 weight versus a Pro Series phone is probably the best way to put it. And it actually was deceptively so. Like I almost went, like it's considerably lighter. And the color, she ordered the titanium blue, which I think I almost regret that I didn't because it's fantastic looking.
It's
much more
right. Yeah,
it's much more muted than the previous blue iPhones that have come out. So like the Sierra blues and all that, it's a lot more of maybe like a grayish blue or like a storm blue, maybe is kind of a better way to put it. So it's interesting. I mean, fluidity and all that, it seems quick now, but it always does when you open up a new phone. But I guess time will tell. I mean, I still have to, set it up and get all her details and data in there and stuff. But I mean, the impression that I get from a lot of the people that I've been kind of following and seeing is that it's pretty, but I don't know. I don't know much else. Like, I mean, there's been a couple of camera samples out there and a couple of like comparison videos, which we'll get to in a minute. Tuna, what have you been seeing about this? Because I know you've seen a few things out there so far.
I didn't actually order the phone myself, at least not yet. I'd like to try one.
Okay.
But we had this conversation before, and I've had the 7. I think the 7 was the introduction of the Plus. Maybe I'm wrong. And I had both. And every phone I got, I mean, the outside changed every 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
But there's a lot of hype, and then you get the phone, and it's like, okay, it's got an A17 processor, but you wouldn't know. I mean, it still runs.
Very
and that's
quick.
the issue I have. And I'm not saying Android's the same exact way. They all iterative update. But the issue is with Android, when you buy a Pixel 8 Pro, if you're like, oh, it's just like that 7 Pro, I don't care. Go get a Samsung. Go get an LG. Go get a Sony. Go get, you have choices. And I think I still want to try the 15 because I want to see that 5X zoom. Yes. And I'm hearing a lot of things about the HDR processing is really good. But I have seen that it's I shouldn't say seen. I've heard it's very light. And you sent a picture to me of the Max Blue. And actually, I'm pretty impressed with how blue it is. People were saying, oh, it's not worth it. But it looks like it's pretty. I like the color. I think I'd rather choose that than the other colors they have available.
I went for the natural. Was the one that I went for. So this is the color. Let's see if there we go. So that's the phone, the actual phone itself. But I went for the natural color. So I'm normally a space gray guy. Like every iPhone I've ever owned has been black or space gray. This year I went with the natural color because I have the Apple Watch Ultra, which also happens to be that similar kind of color scheme, going for a matchy kind of thing going on. But I may live to regret that. I haven't got it yet. I still have to wait a couple of weeks because that's when I could get it. But first impressions, it seems very nice. I mean, I know my wife is not a camera person, so she doesn't care about a 5x zoom or anything like that. I mean, the phone she's coming from was an iPhone 12, which is quickly dying a slow death.
So this is a good upgrade for her because, like I said to those people, this is not a remarkably upgradable phone. If you're an iPhone user and you're rocking a 12, maybe even a 13, this is a great upgrade for you. And through carriers with trade-ins, you can get a great deal for it. So I'm not hating on it. I just think for me personally, if I had the 14 Pro Max and that thing felt terrible. It was way too heavy and big.
So heavy. Yeah.
But to me, and I explained this before, maybe, I don't know if Sam's heard this, but when you had the Pro Max, it's the biggest phone they have. And I feel like iOS doesn't feel right on a big screen like that. It feels like a play school toy to me. And I'm not making fun of iOS. It just doesn't. And you could probably change maybe you can change the size of things. I don't know. But with like the Note, it feels like it was meant for that size screen.
Yes.
Whereas I don't know, and maybe it's changed since then. I mean, they have iOS 17, and some of the fonts have changed, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've had the iPhone 14 Pro Max since last year. I got it at launch. It really wasn't used all that much. Like, I'm still at 99% battery health. So to give you an idea, it's degraded 1%.
So you're not you're not one of those people that has like, I'm having 3% every week.
No, I'm not. I mean, I had the the iOS beta on it for about 2 months. I haven't dropped a single percent. I've been using it actively now for about 2 months, actually, just as my main phone. And it's just I don't know. Like first impressions seem pretty good. I mean, I know there was a bit of controversy a little earlier this week with a Mr. Who's the Boss, who is some guy on YouTube. So he did a classic Samsung versus iPhone camera comparison, and he kind of got himself in a little bit of hot water with some of the tech community, given the results. So he kind of, for those of you unfamiliar, he kind of ranks them or rates them based on some metrics that he comes up with. And Tuna, tell us what happened. Give us the rundown of what happened in this video.
Well, obviously he compared the two videos, or the picture quality of each phone, and I'm not going to lie, it sounds like from the initial video that I saw, the iPhone 15 was leading the pack. But what was interesting, and I didn't even pick up on this is, when you're social media anymore, they pick up on everything. And someone noticed there was a recent update to the Samsung S23 series phones where there's a 1 to 2 X zoom. Yeah. And someone noticed it didn't have that in his video. So there was an update that was lacking. And people were complaining that, that update included a bunch of camera performance updates. Yes. So he came out on Twitter and said, you're right. The phone we were using was a review unit sent to us from Samsung that was not getting updates. So we utilized someone else's, did the updates. And the only thing he really noticed was more sharpening.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's because, the unit he was using was so outdated. But he said it didn't really change the outcome from his view.
Yes.
Being that it's subjective.
Yeah, I mean, I think software. We always say I think someone said, you don't buy a phone for what it promises because a lot of the time the updates make changes, but they're not going to drastically change the output of these photos. They may get a little better, a little brighter, a little sharper, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But what's interesting about this is here's a guy who we know he's an iPhone person. And, he's made that very clear. He hasn't kind of pulled his punches or anything on that. And he does these camera comparisons primarily to get viewers and, get everybody on board. But, he went and did his I can't even say that, due diligence. He basically, he did what he could. He went back and tested it, and it turned out to be the same fucking result. So you got all these people online on Twitter who are just ripping this guy down. And I get it. I mean, sure. I mean, you should update your software as best you can, but that's the software he had working for that device at that time. So why is everyone getting their nose bent out of joint when, he just basically came out and said, hey, it's a sample phone, doesn't get updates kind of the same way. What's the problem? Right.
So here's the thing though. We used to be in a culture where it's like when the phone comes out, you use it as it is, not how it's going to be. But the way the world works now, social media is so big that I don't care how perfect you are, even Apple's not perfect. How many issues that people complain about throttle and, all this stuff with the iPhone already, and it just came out.
Yes.
I think we need to make sure that, like the Nothing Phone series, they're always constantly updating. That's what we want. We want companies not to forget about the phone. We want them to upgrade it. So I think that's smart that they were mad about it. But tearing a guy like that down who's got, what does he have, 15 million subscribers? I don't know. And I'm not saying
16.4.
And I'm not always saying I support the guy. He makes some really cool content. Like he does stuff with Nintendo and gaming systems. And even his initial impressions of the iPhone weren't like, oh my God, it's the best thing. He even said it's got ray tracing, but it's not going to blow away any Android device because they have similar. So it was actually pretty positive. Now, I didn't watch the full camera comparison because I know what's going to happen. Oh, the iPhone's better because it's newer. Yeah. Next year when the S24 comes out, they're going to say, oh, it's much better than the 15 Pro because Samsung's going to have this, and this. So, I mean, I'm not too concerned about all that. And picture quality is so subjective. There was a tweet by Mr. Captain Two Phone, Mr. Captain Two Phones.
Yes,
Captain Two Phones, Mr. Mobile.
You're giving him a proper name.
It's Captain Two Phones. Yeah. He even said, you see his video on the iPhone 15?
He did.
He was
I did.
I'm not going to switch. Even if and he even made a comment on Twitter. Even if they made a folding iPhone, he probably wouldn't go with it. So
no, yeah, exactly.
And he's not lying. I'd rather someone like that be honest and say, look, I'm an Android guy. I'm not going to switch. Yeah. Then say, oh, well, I'm going to patronize iPhone users just to get views.
Exactly. So. Yeah. I mean, we know, like with, a lot of these people who are out there. I mean, I think we've talked about this a lot about how the iPhone in particular tends to be the default of most influencers. And they may say otherwise, and they may say, no, I'm using the Pixel Fold exclusively now for my, primary device. And then, you see them wearing an Apple Watch, and the next video, they've got an iPhone in their hand. And, I mean, there's a lot of, you have to take a lot of this with a grain of salt. And a lot of people forget that. And,
I've told you guys how many times I'm not buying the iPhone 15, but I guarantee I'll have one at some I'll have one at some point.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, exactly. And that's nothing wrong with that, right? Like wanting to try something is one thing, and convincing 16.4 million people that you're not an iPhone user when you clearly are is a different thing. Now, again, we've talked about him a little bit in the past, especially when he did his videos about Samsung batteries exploding and swelling. And look, I mean, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist and say maybe Apple's got this guy in their back pocket and they're paying him for positive content. But, I mean, we're not unfamiliar with this notion that with some influencers and some of these tech people that they do have an allegiance to some companies because they get this shit for free. So, I sometimes that happens.
But right? We have one goal today.
Yes.
Tonight. We need to convince Sam to go from a Fold 5 to an iPhone 15 Pro Max. That's our goal.
No, it won't happen.
Trade it in.
It won't happen. And only, but I will say that honestly, of all the iPhones that I've seen that have come out, this one is really probably the one that if I were going to make the switch, if I wasn't on the form factor and really like the form factor I had, I think this would be a good bridge.
Wow.
You got an action button. Sorry, I got dogs in the background. You got an action button, and then that's nice because now you can map it, right? And then you also have the USB-C, which is kind of nice. And
yep.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, you think about it. You have all these Type-C cables around. Now you don't have to.
So,
yeah,
well, and not so much the Type-C, only the fact that, and I'm not going to put the tinfoil hat here on, but it seems like every Lightning cable or 30-pin, for that matter, back in the old days, right?
Mm-hmm.
It always failed right at this point, right? And this one is my work device. It's an iPhone, right? And it's getting a little funky right here. And then you can't tell me that those aren't designed like that. I think that's a critical point.
But they have a new braided cable.
Nah, they're braided.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, I told my wife, I said, I've had USB-C and micro USB and all these. I've never had any of those cables from any of those OEMs fail at that point.
I've never had either.
And so that's more what I'm saying is, you're going to buy these iPhone cables and every 6 months you're having to replace it, or you have to put like toothpicks or coil or tape or something to reinforce this. So yeah, I mean, it's just, again, I have nothing against iOS. And to go back and to kind of go back to Mr. Who's the Boss, the only thing I would say is, look, man, if you're going to do a camera comparison on phones, you shouldn't be using a device that clearly isn't going to be available to the general public. You clearly have a reference device or a testing device, or come on, man. You can't tell me that it's just Aaron by himself, right? He's got a team of people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why in the hell would you compare it? It's like it's like when you get pre-launch software and you're saying, well, I'm going to compare it to. You've had the S23 for a while. That phone's been commercially available for almost a year now.
And why don't you have one?
Right. Well, he does.
That's updated too.
He does. And the fact that, you mean, oops, I forgot that this is the one that was the loaner.
Oops.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oops. I mean, I'm not trying to say he didn't.
I will.
Here's the thing. I will say it's only two things. Either one, he knew it and said, fuck it, and I just try to run it through anyway. Or he didn't know. And to me,
that's worse.
The whole point of your life in this channel is to compare. First of all, to be honest with you, I think camera comparisons are totally stupid anyway. It's just ridiculous. I'm like, look, clearly, it's just stupid, right? It's just another. It's like, if clearly we all know that iPhones have really, really great video. Pictures are different. Samsung's different than Sony, than OnePlus, whatever. I mean, it's like to sit there and to be mesmerized by a camera comparison at this point in 2023 is kind of like, okay, it's a little played out. Can we get past that now? I'm just saying, it just seems like that's where I have the problem with Aaron, is the fact that he used clearly a device that wasn't available for the general public and used that as the comparison. I think is just kind of lazy.
Yeah, 100%. Like you said, I feel like he dialed it in on that one. Like he just went, fuck it, that's what I've got. Let's just go ahead.
But
speaking, sorry to interrupt you, but Android Stud, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the show.
Evening, sir.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. First time I've been on. I didn't know what to expect. I came in here blind.
Nice.
Long-time listener, first-time caller? Is that how we're doing it? Okay.
I didn't know if I was going to win a new iPhone or what. I was excited about coming on.
Darren's got you on the iPhone.
Right.
Yeah,
not so much.
I'll take the 15 Pro.
There
you go.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of extended the invitation, because I know you're an Android guy. Obviously, you have Android in your name, but you have been posting that you've got an iPhone 15 Pro.
Correct.
So we wanted to hear it from the
we want to hear from the
basically what's the deal? Like, what's the scoop, dude?
Yeah. I mean, it's the first time I gotten the smaller one. I used the 15 Pro Max last year, and I did enjoy that device. I used the 13 Pro Max a little bit, but I've never used the little boy. I did get the big one because I was a little scared that I wouldn't like this size, but I'm blown away by this color.
Now, what color is that? I didn't even see it.
It's like a white
I
titanium.
like that. I do like
nice.
that.
That's
it's real nice. Yeah. I did have the natural, and I was in the Apple store, and I'm looking at this on the display, and I was like, I told one of the workers, I was like, hey, can I switch my phone? They're like, sure. You didn't open it. I said, no, I didn't. And they switched it out for me. I couldn't believe they had a 256 in the white. So
nice.
I did have the natural though, but I went with the white. But
That's what I wanted.
Something about
I
white
wanted
phones.
that.
I like those.
Yeah.
I like them. Yeah.
Yeah, the gray seems like. I mean, that pink is crazy. I saw the pink in the store. I was like, whoa.
That's only on the 15 though, right? Or 15
Yeah,
plus?
yeah, the 15 and the 15 plus.
First
the pink
impressions?
caught your attention.
Yeah, it was to me, like those pastel colors are they're a little out there. Like you really, because it just
like this.
Yeah.
That bright red Asus.
At least that's what 5.8 inches, right? Or what?
Yeah, 5.9, I believe.
Yeah, 5.9. I mean, a 6.7 teal or pink iPhone is, and
Yeah.
I mean the urine yellow. I mean that's too much. I mean, you imagine 6.7 inches.
You should have been around for the old-fashioned Lumia 1520, the one, the AT&T, the Titan, the Hulk green. Dude, I used to carry that thing.
Those were awesome.
And people would be like, wow, first of all, that color is awesome. And that phone is enormous. And I said, yes, it is. But, the one they had, you call me an old head, but I miss the Lumia polycarbonate colors, the bright reds, the bright yellows, the bright blue, the Hulk green 1520. I mean, if you were going to rock a phone without a case, those were, and then of course they had the white and the black for, people who didn't feel like they want to go kind of all in on the colors and being, holy shit, dude, what are you doing? Trying to stop traffic? Are you trying to flag down aircraft at Lambert Airport? Yeah, no. But I like the colors. But I mean,
what was
most
the
people
Lumia with the big giant?
Oh, the 1020, man. That was my
1020.
that was my entry into Windows Phone. Was the 1020.
That was 40 megapixel, right?
43.
That was like
had a xenon flash and it had gimbals. Like it was actually optically stabilized.
It was
but
terrible with motion.
Oh,
but I'm telling you right now, I took pictures of that thing. And
I
with
will
my daughter,
tell you right now. I
amazing.
mean, it takes a while for it to come up, right? It's got to render and stuff. I would put that phone, even today, there are shots you could probably take with that 1020 that would probably, because remember, it's not about the physical hardware, although that lens on there and the xenon flash is great. It's the computational photography, and Nokia on Windows Phone had that locked in.
They had that for years.
And I will kill anybody who wants to argue with me that UI with having the dial where you slide it out and having the rotating sliders, the UI for taking a picture, still to this day is the most unique and functional camera UI ever. I would love to be able to use that again, as far as just being able to slide out that thing and then make the adjustments you needed and then lock it in. It was really kind of slick. I thought it was pretty cool.
I miss the Windows phones.
Oh man, don't get me started.
We talk
that
about
UI
those
was beautiful. We all missed that.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, that was my first, and then I had a 920, a 1020, a 930. Well, I had the Icon, which is the 930, and then I had a 1520.
Was pretty much all 1520 their last big flagship?
That was the last Lumia flagship. That was the big phone. Then you had the 950 and the 950 XL, and then you had Elite X3, which was and then you had an Alcatel, and then I actually at one point had a Windows M8 for Android and a Windows M8 for Windows and an M8 for Android, both from HTC. I had them both, and that gunmetal gray, and again, a device that you can't replicate. They don't make phones like that anymore. It was just perfectly.
But if I remember correctly, didn't HP have something in the pot ready to go, but it got canceled at the last minute because the OS got canned? It was like the HP Elite or something.
No, they made the Elite X3. Actually had Continuum, had a dock. It was in a deluxe package and everything. They made the Elite X3. It's still available. You can still buy it. And then Alcatel had a Idol 4S. Obviously the older phone.
Full disclosure, when I had Verizon, I don't know who it was. I bought my wife the first Windows phone because I was scared to use it. I was an Android guy. And as soon as she got it, I was so effing jealous. I went out and bought the 1020 later on and loved that phone.
Yeah, I miss the Windows phones. I really do, honestly. If they still were viable and you could get like even 80% of the applications on, I would be using Windows Phone to this day. I mean, just
speaking, Sam, of Windows, you probably read this week about the head of their little Lumia division, or rather Lumia division, leaving
Surface.
the company.
Yeah, Panos is leaving.
Yeah. Panos is leaving. So
basically they told Panos they're cutting back on all the Surface division, all the experimental shoved, and Panos is like, "Fuck this, I'm out of here. I'm not down with that." Panos is all about experimental and push the envelope. That was the whole point of him being on the Surface team. And when Microsoft decided they're going to pull back and just basically basically make sure they're profitable and mainstream. Yeah. Panos is like, "I'm not about that life, man. I want."
Where's he going?
Amazon.
Did he say?
He's going to Amazon.
Oh, that's right. That's
Amazon,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. And
Hey,
honestly,
maybe we'll get an amazing Amazon Fire Phone out of it, man.
I don't know. I can tell you, and that's basically what it came down to. Basically, after 20 years, Panos was basically
phone.
they're gonna scale back at Microsoft, and Panos is like, yeah, I'm out of this. Hey, 20 years, I'm out of here.
That Fire Phone, I bought 6 of those things when they were clearance for $100 because I got 6 years of free Amazon Prime with every phone I bought, and I sold them for $100.
Amazing.
So you have 30 years of Amazon?
Well, not anymore. I did.
So yeah, essentially all the Surface experimental, Surface headphones, Surface Duo, those kind of devices, the experimental pushing out. Microsoft is going to what's more profitable. They're really taking a back step, and that makes sense from a bottom line perspective. I guess Microsoft. I guess they can't spend a couple $100 billion when they have $1 trillion valuation. But what do I know? I mean, it's fine. It's cool.
Well, speaking of experimental, another big story that came out this week, or just the last couple of days, was the Pixel 8a. Hey, Delvon, how's it going, buddy?
It's Sam.
Delvon just like
Google has
He just dropped in at the right time.
Wait, I have one question for Delvon before we start. Are you part of Team Pixel or not yet?
I am not part of Team Pixel, bro.
But you work for Google. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know how that works.
He's in the marketing. He's in the marketing
Is there an
photos.
email or
It doesn't work
form
that way.
I gotta fill out?
No, hold on. Android Stud, you are part of Team Pixel, correct or no?
Correct. Hopefully, I
thought
still
so.
am. Yeah.
So hopefully I still am. And I think it's I'm not a Team Pixel either, but I'm Pixel super fan. And I started when it first started, so they were giving us all kinds of stuff, and then it got so big that there's a lot less contact. And I'm going to assume that's the same way with Team Pixel. They have these
I can't even get into super fans either, bro. I can't even become one of them. That's crazy.
Well, you're not a super fan,
You don't make enough Pixel
fans,
right, where you can't be on there.
No. They just I tried to fill out the application to be up there, and nothing. It's been like 3 years now for me.
Wow.
Nothing. I just gave up.
Listen,
I don't care.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think with Dalvon, he makes a lot. And for those of you who don't know who Dalvon is, check out his content on YouTube. It's amazing. But he is our Pixel guy. Like, when anyone says Pixel, I think of Dalvon. He has the Google he has the Google logo tattooed on his butt. This is true story.
I don't know. Android Stud has Android in his name, so.
I'll show y'all. I might get in trouble with this.
Yeah, see, he's double wielding right there.
I just don't know how Darren knows that, but
I mean, I double wield too. I mean, everybody. Double wield. Come on now.
I guess I'm the basic. I guess the basic. I have the.
That's a nice phone, though. What are you talking about?
I do, and I right on the table right over there. I still have my OG Duo, and I'm still using it.
And Samsung has said, or Microsoft has come out and said they're done with the Duo. And I think the Surface. Didn't they say something about Surface?
No, so Surface headphones are done. Surface Duo is done. I think they're talking about like Surface Studio, maybe. It's all the experimental. They're going to focus on Surface Pro, Surface Go, those kind of things. The things that basically make. The things that are mainstream and
things that don't excite anybody. Right.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where you make the Duo, don't tell anybody about it, then wonder why it fails. I don't really understand that, right? It's like Pixel. Pixel for the first 2 iterations or 3, 3A, nobody knew about it. Then finally Pixel said, Google said, maybe we should advertise and tell people this thing exists. And they're like, what? What do you mean? It's like, I'm sure people sitting around a board group going, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Making advertisements. I haven't heard of such a crazy thing before. And then they started making advertisements and getting into people's hands and getting on TV, and you see Pixel shit and movies and stuff. And you're like, oh.
I knew you were going to go there next.
That's a viable product. Yeah, you got to tell people about it. You can't you aren't Apple. You don't have to advertise Apple, but you have to advertise everything else. You can't just make a product especially like that and not tell anybody. It's just stupid, but whatever.
Well, leading into that.
Yes, leading into that, here we are with a Google leak. Fucking no surprises. We're right there, a couple of weeks away.
Do we call them leaks, or
I'm just saying?
Yes.
Right. At this point, it's advertisement. At this point,
that looks so pixelated and photoshopped. I can't believe that's real. I don't hate it.
Well, I think this version, the content on the back, which I imagine is the data for the person at Google who's using this, but
pixelated.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen,
you picked up on it. Thank you.
pixelated, yes. But
Come on,
what are
Darren.
your thoughts about the look of this alleged 8A? Because I'm going to be honest with you. If that's the fucking 8A, that thing's ugly as motherfucker.
I don't mind
those
it.
round edges. The color maybe, but like that don't look good to me.
I don't feel none of it. I don't
No,
feel
I
any.
mean,
I don't feel the
that.
blue. I'm not feeling that camera housing.
No.
And here's the thing. Go back to the front image.
Oh yeah. 1 second.
Is it me or is it that fingerprint sensor super fucking centered?
It may not be right there. That could be just the picture.
Yeah.
Oh God, I hope not, because man, I don't want to be like I'm gonna touch the. I just use my nose. I'll just go and use my nose on lock.
Yeah, but
Go
there's
back
some
to-
phones like the Nothing phone. Or was it Nothing? It's one of the phones that was like super low.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
it's
I
a fine
remember that.
line because everyone's got different size hands. It's finding that. sweet spot.
Hashtag bring back the G8's vein hand sensor.
The vein.
yes.
You,
Oh my
you
God,
laugh.
remember
You
That
laugh.
was
I got
awesome.
that to work like all the time, man, like clockwork. I love
Oh,
that.
mine
Using-
worked 60% of the time.
And using that to turn the dial, oh, dude, that was slick, man. You used to do that shit. You know, people were like, "Wow, that's some like that's." Some
Thing is, man, when you're in
shit.
Starbucks and you're doing that, people are looking at you like there's something wrong with you. They're like, "What's he doing?"
right?
Can't you do that in Amazon stores? Don't you pay with your? Doesn't Amazon have some beta test in their stores where you can pay with your palm? I thought they were doing that in like Seattle or something.
I'm just saying, it's like
Really?
the back,
That'd be
the
some
back,
dope stuff, though.
the back end of
Yeah.
that phone is. I don't think it's very attractive now. I mean, it's not horrible, but
Brian, I'm going to be honest with you. That smells like pure gasoline.
60% of the time it works.
Hey, we're getting copyrighted again. Would you knock it off?
Every time.
I just
that
short
doesn't make
little
any sense.
burst, short little
Quick.
burst. But
Fair use.
oh shit, sorry, still going. Here we go.
I don't hear it. So
Yeah,
it's good.
that-
You're
that-
good.
Yeah, I'm just.
That pixel's ugly, bro. That thing's
Yeah.
ugly,
Yeah.
bro. Straight up.
Here's my thing.
It's-
If they keep it like that, there's definitely separating the A series from the regular
Yes.
series, and I think they need to do that. But maybe that's too extreme. But I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But
I
I'm
mean,
not gonna buy it. But I don't buy. You should buy the.
maybe
A
that
series.
render is off a little bit, bro. That
It
just
is.
don't seem-
Yeah.
It's
I'm
tough
sorry.
it's tough to judge from that.
Yeah.
That looks like they're trying to make it look bad. I don't know.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
looks
It looks like a thick boy. It looks like a bar of soap. Is what
It
looks
gives
like.
me Pixel 3 vibes. Like 3XL, 3A
Maybe.
kind of rounded.
Do you remember the
edges.
Pixel Watch when it first got leaked? How little the bezels there were, and then all of a sudden,
Yes.
oh yeah. So this is the same thing. Maybe they're just someone's playing with it. Someone could have took that leak, round the corners
Yeah,
off, and
just
released it
tweaked
saying,
the
"Look what I
fuck out of
found."
it.
You know, it's getting a lot of
Yeah.
press now too. So
Yeah.
Google
Well,
needs.
I
Hey,
mean-
any press is good press, right?
It could be a prototype. Like, we don't know. Like, it could
Yeah.
be anything at this point. Right?
Well,
I
ask
mean,
Delvon. He works for him. What do you think?
Yeah, Galva, come on, man. What the fuck? Give us a scoop.
Yeah,
There's no
what it
embargo.
is that what it is from I heard from a trusted person that we are not getting 2 watch sizes this year. So I just
I
want to
didn't
throw
think
that
we
out
were.
there.
Did someone
you
say
go.
that?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know.
So we're good.
I can't say anything, but I know something. So
we're
yeah,
only
that,
getting
that's all I
40
can
in?
say. Yeah, we're
Well-
only getting to 41 again. So yeah.
I didn't mind the size. The bezels were just too damn big, and the battery life
Yeah,
was
see-
terrible.
I mean, look, the life to me, I wouldn't say terrible. It just to me is just on par with the Apple Watch, right? One day, that's it.
Yes.
And people made it seem like it was just like the worst battery life ever, but you'll never say that about the Apple Watch, which gives you one day. You know, we're not talking about the Ultras and the other, you know, the Pros and stuff. We're just talking about the basic Apple Watch. It's the same battery as that. In fact, Apple even market 18 hours. Nobody complains about that, but the Pixel Watch
Yeah.
gets all this
You know,
praise
that's
for
true.
having 24 hours. Yeah,
It's true because
think
I had the
about that.
Galaxy Pro. I had the 5 Pro, which got like 2 to 3 days, and then before that, I still have my Fitbit. So that thing gets like a week. So you're right. Maybe it's
Yeah.
perspective. I guess like that makes sense more. That makes a little, like I have the 6 Classic, and that thing it's
Uh-huh.
one day, if you're like
Yeah.
maybe a day and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nobody complains about it, but it just seems like because it's
Right.
made by Google and is a Pixel, it's like elevated to like something just incredibly useless and stuff like that. But I still have my Pixel Watch on currently. I just don't like it because it's small. The battery life, I've been using Apple Watch for a while, so I've been used to charging my my watch every night. So it's not like a big issue for me.
Look,
I
Delvon,
do
you have a
want-
tablet. You have a good Pixel tablet. You got a Pixel Fold. You still have a 7 Pro, right, with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles skin on it. right?
I got different skins. You know, I get
Oh, okay,
skins,
you got
like,
skins.
a lot of skins.
And then you got the watch. I think we need to start a hashtag Dalvon for Team Pixel.
Oh yeah! Don't forget the tablet. Don't forget all my Google Nests
Look,
in the
he's
house.
even in the ad. Look,
Yes,
Not even in the ad. He's right there.
So how is the Pixel 8 Pro?
I've had it for a couple of weeks
solid,
now.
but
It works out pretty good. It's not just,
Okay. Do you guys? I
give it on
talked
my
about this
phone,
guy
though.
before. Do you guys know Scott Peachy? He used to be on YouTube
Yeah.
big. Now he just does live streams. He was a guy that he was Team Pixel. He would get the pixels before anybody else, but he was like, "Oh, I don't have them." And then the day of that embargo release, he's like, "Oh, I'm just kidding. I had it for 6 months and it's great." I'm like, "Come on, man. I hate that." So Dalvin's probably pulling our chain. He's probably Team Pixel veteran or something.
Man, I really wish, bro. I've been waiting for the day so I can pull y'all chain. And when I do, it's gonna be lovely. It's gonna be so lovely. Because I'm not gonna tell nobody until y'all be like, "Oh my god, he dropped the video." I'm like,
that's gonna be hard for you because you've been waiting. You know that anticipation. Oh,
I am. I have been.
You
waiting.
know what, Delvon? More than anything for you, buddy. You know what I want you to be invited to? Those Pixel getaways where they test the cameras out, like
Pixel
those
Camp or
ones.
whatever.
Yes,
The Pixel
yes,
Camp.
I really do.
It sends you to
Yeah.
northern
Yeah.
New York and stuff. And you're in a bunch of airstreams that are like no wheels. You're just grounded. Yeah,
Yes,
they're
yeah.
camping.
That's where I want to see Delvon. With his camera prowess and his keen eye. That's where you need to have Dalvon. So
Don't
Pixel,
forget
yeah,
though,
listen.
in the next couple of years, we're gonna have Camp TNT, aren't we?
Of course, yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
going to be an old abandoned nuclear mine, and
Roddy's gonna roll up in a
be
white van saying, "Who wants candy?"
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
but
I would say we could go to Chernobyl, but it's not exactly a really calm place right now. I got some stuff going on.
yeah,
Russians
no
and-
joke. Yeah.
Actually, I tried to sell my wife on the trip to Chernobyl before the invasion, and she's like, I don't know if I want to do that. I'm like, hell yeah.
You get those biosuits; those things are sexy.
I just
put
let you
those things
walk around
on.
and stuff, man. Get a dosimeter. It's all good, man. It's like cool, but yeah, I was dead serious. I wanted to totally visit. Now, not so much. It's a little busy.
Yeah.
Dalvon, so I know you are a convert to the Pixel Fold yourself, and I was going to ask you about the Android 14 release, beta release. Have you played with the aspect ratio fix?
I done changed every app that doesn't fit that ratio to fit the ratio. And I want to say that it's really a different experience with the Pixel now that all the apps actually fit that way. I actually turned my rotation off because my workaround was just rotating to portrait mode because obviously all the apps are built in portrait mode, which a lot of YouTubers wasn't talking to, the people about and saying it, which I hated. That's why I hate when like certain influencers review stuff because it's like they don't review a usage. They just review like a commercial item or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because they don't talk about some of the things that can be addressed by just like literally rotating the device, which is an easy fix. But yeah, it's been a game changer for it. I'll say that it's pretty awesome. I'm going to actually make an updated video and just kind of like just talk about that by itself, just to let the audience know that, hey, you can do it now because everyone's complaint seems to be at ratio compared to Samsung jank. And, reigning supreme for Samsung because of that. And now they're on the same playing field unless you really need the extra third multitasking window in the pen. So now there's those two advantages. But we all know there's a pen in the work for the Pixel tablet, which I also have. So that leads me to believe that we may get a Pixel Pro tablet. And I'm hoping that we do.
Hold on, back up. What did you say about the Pixel tablet again? I missed this part.
The Pixel, it's getting a stylus now. It's getting a stylus and a keyboard.
So you're thinking there's going to be a pro version of that? What kind of processor?
I mean, isn't inevitable?
It's exclusive.
What you mean? What kind of process? It's going to be Tensor 3 or 4.
Well, I know it's going to be Tensor 3. It has to be, right?
Yeah,
It's going to have a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3.
I mean, look, personally, I don't want it to be anything but Tensor. I know Tensor is bad, but I just want Google to make Tensor good.
Yes.
I don't
give
want
up.
them to use Snapdragon. Yeah, exactly. I don't want them to give up. I want them just make it good. In 2025, we're going to get TSMC.
Yes.
Right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Whew, long. They're going to be switching over to them for the custom chips. So, yeah, it's a lot. When they switch over for them, they're gonna have a fully custom chip. So then we may have a better actual Pixel that everyone. Well, let me put it like this: the only people that's complaining about it is actually the tech community. It's really not no average consumers complaining about this stuff. So maybe if they make a better chip, the tech community can shut up about complaining. Because again, I try to review and talk about my product as if I'm a consumer, because I am a consumer. I go to the store and I buy this stuff. So I have to view things as a consumer and not as a tech person. Tech people always want to get a product and talk about things that the product is not and want these type of things in it. I like to talk about what the product is today and what it is.
Yeah.
Dalvon, though, that's a good thing. Your channel, I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but you're not huge like MKBHD or Who's the Boss.
Yeah.
Those guys are churning. And if you guys ever worked at a cell phone company, you know what churn is. It's when someone comes in and they upgrade their phone. That's how they make money to keep you locked in.
Yeah.
These big YouTubers, and I'm not trying to make fun of anybody because they have a business. They've got to that level, but they're churning. They're getting people coming in. They're getting phones coming in. They're reviewing them quick and kicking them to the curb.
Getting them out. Yeah.
I can't afford to do that, and I don't get free phones. So a lot of smaller community people will keep a phone for a long period of time, and they'll show the updates. And hopefully that kind of stuff comes through to your general user as opposed to, hey, I've had it for 2 weeks. Here's my review. And in 2 weeks, things can change. That third week, 6 months, I mean, that's the only downside to some of that stuff.
I mean, a good example is a good Yeah, but you're right. A good example is like right now. So now that the app situation has changed for the Pixel, how many big YouTubers are actually going to go back and visit that? You heard me say that I'm going to go back and make a video because I'm a smaller YouTuber and I can't buy a bunch of phones, so I'm covering this phone. So I'm going to go back and be like, hey, now you can actually change the ratio of all the apps. But the big YouTubers, their review that they made 2 weeks when it first came out is set in stone. That's what it is. So
you're saying YouTube channels like Android Studs channel, which is, I'd say, big compared to what I am. He's just making quick reviews and kicking them to the curb, aren't you?
Jeez,
I'm just kidding. I'm just
kidding. It's mostly for people who just don't follow the device completely. You know, that's just you know, a lot of them is one and done. But then there's channels that actually covers the devices, you know, continuation of the device software.
And I'm going to call you out, and Andrew Stud. You guys both post a lot of pictures like months after the phone's been out. You don't just say, I'm done. You compare. I think that's what people need to do. I'm not big enough. I don't have time to do all that. If people were clamoring and saying, oh, I want you to do a review, I'd probably spend more time, but no one's clamoring for that for me. So I appreciate these creators that are out there doing that kind of thing, you know? So...
Yeah, and I mean, it's not an easy thing either, too, right? I mean, I know for most of us, we all have day jobs and, you know, and things that we do on the side, and that takes up time, families, all of that stuff, right?
Platinum
and, you know,
Tinder, I know. Platinum Tinder, right?
Exactly. Yeah, my select subscription, but no, you know, one of the things that I think we should appreciate more is, you know, for these other smaller guys, you know, like Dalvon, and I don't mean that in a bad way, Dalvon. I'm just trying to get you some.
Look, no offense, bro. Yeah. No offense.
But no, I'm
overrated small as far as what the community says, so I'm not even tripping.
No, you're underrated. You need to get. You need to be much higher.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I said overrated. I meant to say underrated.
He's underselling himself.
Yeah. I'm
just going to say, I mean, I think if we had a little bit more of that and less of kind of these, as Tuna said, churning kind of influences saying, oh, you know, and we were having this conversation earlier, you know, how many of these guys are just going to be like, oh, I didn't buy the iPhone 15 Pro Max. And then in their, you know, their review video of the fucking S24 Ultra, it's in their hand, it's in their pocket. They're wearing an Apple Watch. They're, you know, the Apple CarPlay is on in the car. Like, I don't know. You're going to take all this stuff with a grain of salt, right?
So you're saying this week next week, I should order an iPhone 15 Pro Max and do a dedicated Android man.
Yes.
Switches to
iPhone.
And
you're going to do this.
I got to do the picture.
Oh,
man, it's going to be so difficult.
Yeah.
You got to do what everybody else is doing, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's perfect. Yes.
And then make sure it's within the 30-day return policy so I can get it returned back so I get my money back.
Oh, that's what everybody's doing.
Exactly.
I'll be honest with you guys. I buy a lot of phones, and I have never, ever bought a phone and returned it. I might sell it for a loss, which is stupid probably, but I feel more, I don't know. it's maybe a personal thing. Most people don't care. I've never.
I have returned the Fold before. I had the Fold 3. I tried it for 2 weeks. I just couldn't get into it. And it was right during the Duo, and I was like, I don't know. And like I said, I gave it a shot, and I think it was like 10 or 11 days. I took it back to AT&T. I'm like, I'm not.
Okay, when you say Fold, you gotta kind of like say a name in front of that.
Oh, it was the Z Fold 3.
There is no Pixel Fold 3.
No, we need the model number. SM.
Hey, look,
the SM.
we actually got a second Fold. We got a second Fold in the United States now, so you gotta say like what Fold now.
Gonna represent.
Yeah, well, I think I said the Fold 3, but that's okay.
Yeah, those are fighting words.
It was a Samsung Fold 3. And and it wasn't. We had the Duo before we had any of the folds.
Yes,
like as far as the Pixel Fold.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a folding. It
Duo,
wasn't a
what's
foldable
that?
screen.
No,
Who cares?
I almost wonder what would have happened if the Duo had taken off.
I love the
the
Duo.
Fold-
Both of them.
It was never going to for two
If they
main
would have put a
reasons.
cover screen on the Duo, it would have done well.
Oh, absolutely, I agree,
That's
and I
the-
think
You
When
know,
I got the Duo, I was like-
and I hear that, but then I like you know what it did do?
It was well made.
Using a
was,
Duo
yeah.
made me use the inner screen more on a foldable. And
Yeah.
this was the argument I had against the Pixel Fold. And this is going to make Delva mad, and I'm not trying to throw shade. But I'm not buying the foldable and using the outside screen 70% of the time. To me, that defeats the entire purpose of it.
Yeah.
I'll second
because
that.
Because of the Duo, it forced me to I just default go here. I
But
don't
Sam,
even think about it.
The good news is with the Duo, you didn't have one screen that was folding and unfolding. So opening it didn't make me have reservations that the screen was going to be broken one day when I opened it.
Yeah.
That's why I like the Duo. It was separated.
And here's the thing, too, is
So-
people don't realize is who used the Duo for 3 years. I always kept it unfolded. I kept it folded back on itself. You know, you can do that.
You're a
right?
serial killer.
You didn't have to. You didn't see because you could keep the posture. So a lot of people go, well, you have to open it every time. I said, if you fold it every time you do, but if you're using it on a daily basis for 3 years, you will leave the fold with the screens
Hold
out.
on. So you left your screens out when you. So do you also leave your phone screen down?
yeah,
When
like
you have
Dalvon.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's but
No.
Dalvon does that too.
Dalvon, yes, I've seen Dalvon literally put
Oh,
his
that's-
phone screen down first, and it incites fear into my heart every time he does it. Like,
Yes.
That's antisocial
Yes.
behavior right
Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't like cases, but I do be putting like a screen protector. I got the skin up here, and then I got a screen protector right here,
Yeah,
and I got a matte one right here as well. So when I be putting it down and y'all be tripping, bro, it just be on the matte protectors.
Right.
It be on the
there.
protector.
So Android
you
Stud,
can-
what do you
I
do?
mean, I don't slam it. I don't slam
rock
it.
a-
Slam
Do
Boy
you-
certified, right?
Do you keep it screen
Yeah.
down when you're at your desk
with,
or something?
with the Fold,
Well,
with the Samsung Galaxy Fold 5, I usually put it down like this.
yes.
Right.
Okay.
And then if I open it, I'll usually I'll have it up like this. I don't usually put it like that. That's
Yes,
weird.
I'm with him.
That's
I
crazy.
never put my screen down ever.
Yeah.
I can't do that. That's psycho.
I put my screen down on my Pixels because it has that feature to mute everything.
That's why you're not Team Pixel.
I think the iPhone is down like this
yes, agreed.
because I that hump, it kind of freaks me out a little bit. But with the Pixel 7 Pro, I just put it down on its back.
So not
I mean-
screen down. Interesting.
So
Yeah.
it's just a shame too because, like I said, I think Android stuff makes a point. Like I said, with not having an outer screen, it was a more intentional device. It was whenever you wanted to use your Duo, you had to open it up, and like I said, But honestly, I just got so used to doing it. I just got so used to just opening it up. I just opened it up, right? And so
I do
it's
regret
tri-
not.
yeah, it's-
I do regret with the Duo 2. I think that's the one I got. Is that I didn't like power through like the. You know how sometimes with the Fold 5 or the Fold 4, I think I kind of forced myself to use it for like 3 months. And the same thing with the iPhone last year, because usually when I would use an iPhone after about 25 days, I felt like I was.
he was counting them.
off of
It was
drugs.
26 days, 4 hours, and 12 minutes, and it was like
We
I'm
talked
done.
about this. Every iPhone you get, you're like, I can't wait. And like, oh, it's the same damn thing I get
Yeah,
every damn year.
But I wish with the Duo 2, I would have forced myself to kind of keep using it, and I
Yeah.
think I would have been able to.
Yeah.
put my lifestyle around
and I
it.
think that was the main thing, is that in order to use that device for what it was really designed and what the intent was, you really had to really completely transform how you use a mobile device.
Right.
And that's a lot. That's a very hard hill for a lot of folks to climb who are just using their device for what they're using it for. But I will tell you, as a person who did push through that, once you got, I tell you right now, it put me in the position where now I cannot go back to a slab phone. Right. I just can't. I just cannot do it. That's why Apple will never get my money full time until they come up with any kind of. It just
when
they
come out with their rollable, you'll be fine.
I might make it.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
That would be kind of slick. Yeah, well, like I said, that and that's just my experience. So, like I said, I realize that for everybody that their experiences may vary, but for me, that was just so it's disappointing.
Sam,
but I get it.
Sam, I did want to piggyback off what you said though, because I bought this foldable to use like the inner screen. And that's what I use the most. I see like almost every YouTuber say the same thing as like an echo chamber. They say, I find myself using the outside screen more. I'm like, why would you spend money on a foldable and use the outside screen?
Yeah,
like this screen is just, it's just so much pleasurable to use the inside screen over the outside screen for almost all my tasks. Literally,
and it's begging to be used. It's begging for you to I mean, and just take yourself a couple extra seconds and really just push past your use case and once you get to it and that muscle memory starts to happen, you just kind of do it. I'm telling you, man, the experience is so much more immersive and better using a foldable, at least to me.
It is. That's why I personally can't go back to slab to myself. I'm with you on that. Like, I was just in the bed last night on my doing some reading. I was like, yo, this is so much better, because normally I'm using a tablet, right? A big tablet. And I'm like this, but I was holding my Pixel literally, and that's why I love the bezels, by the way. I was holding it with one hand like this, and I was just reading. And I was just like, I cannot go back to a regular slab phone. I cannot do this.
The one thing that I hate about the Pixel, I don't care about the power, the processor. I don't like that. For some reason, mine does not fold completely flat. Like, I had the Fold 4, I don't have the Fold 5, and it lays completely flat when opened. I can't get mine. I mean, you can make it, but it seems unnatural to me. I don't know. I know. I didn't think it was a big deal, but it seems like to me that this is a big deal. To me, it seems like it kind of bows up a little bit.
I would have to use it. I would have to use it to say for sure if it would bother me. I honestly don't think it would, just because I've used a Duo. So
the other issue is it could be the aspect ratio. I'm not used to because
it's true.
4,
I mean, I was going to mention the aspect ratio, but listen, it's all good. We now have a way on the Pixel Fold to stretch apps out. It looks amazing. It's nice.
And guess what?
That.
I have a closing statement. We have to talk about iPhone's environmental efforts. And if you bought an iPhone 15 Pro, 15 Max, whatever, you can now use USB Type-C, and everyone in the world can throw away their lightning cables and save the environment.
I know what Tuna's getting at. So I got my wife's iPhone 15 Pro today. I unboxed it, put the screen protector on, did all the fucking shit we normally do. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna charge it up because I'm gonna set it up. I've got to transfer the data across. Didn't I fucking grab the lightning cable? And I'm like, what the fuck? What's wrong with it? It's USB-C now, and I felt like a moron.
I wish you had that recorded so I could.
Oh my
show
goodness!
You are a full kit wanker. That's what that.
Full kit wanker. There. That was right there. Wanker move right there. But it took me about 3 seconds to go, oh, fuck. Like, nope, that's right. It's definitely not that anymore. But I think that might be an adjustment, not necessarily for me, because I know that it's USB-C now. But I think for someone like my wife, who has never used a USB-C device at all, she's always only had lightning cable with every iPhone she's ever owned. Mm-hmm. So I think I can catch her, and I know I'm going to catch her at one point. I'm going to try and video this. I'm going to see her go to her regular charger and try to fucking plug it in. And she's like, this fucking thing's broken. It's not working. I can see that coming. I'm going to try to catch that on camera for you, because that shit will be funny.
Well, the good thing about all these lightning cables, your friends with iPhone 8s will be able to charge their phone when they come in your car or
that's it,
in your house,
Yeah.
If someone has an iPhone 8, they're not good enough. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe that's what they should be fucking recycling, is taking all those fucking cables and melting them down into some, I don't know, fucking tires or something.
Yeah. The iPhone tire based on the iPhone Lightning.
Right? your car could go like lightning. You get, Anyway,
Wow.
right there, Apple, I'm available for hire. On that note, we're going to wrap it up there for tonight, guys. Thank you very much, Android Stud, Delvon, Sam, Tuna. Thanks for coming out and talking tech with us. And we're back every Friday. Android Stud, we'd love to have you back, buddy, anytime.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Along. And just remember, for those of you who are listening after tonight on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that fun stuff, you can catch us every Friday night, 7 p.m., talking tech on YouTube. Any closing thoughts, Tuna? Is there something you want to hum us out? You want to wrap us out? Because I know we were talking about that earlier on.
No, he doesn't.
I got something to say.
Wrap it up.
Here we go.
I love all three of y'all backgrounds now. Like, I went from y'all background. I mean, I went from that to y'all backgrounds. But look at mine. It looks like y'all now. So next time I'm gonna be in the studio because y'all ain't about to embarrass me.
No,
I like embarrassing you guys.
No.
Hey, I used to be in a jail cell. Okay, now I'm not.
This is the beauty of being a podcaster and not a YouTuber.
Yes.
Because then I can live.
We can live in the
it's audio.
bro.
It's audio only, and who wants to see
Who
my
sees
ugly ass
you?
face?
I love it.
Face for
I love it.
Right.
I love it, guys. I just want to say I love an upgrade right now, and I'm gonna blow y'all out next time I get up here. I'm not playing with y'all. So I'm back to the studio for my
Challenge
response.
accepted. Challenge accepted. I'm gonna go buy some more neon on Temu. But anyway, on that note, I'm just waiting for this thing on my right to catch on fire. It's been a week, so we'll see. But anyway, on that note, we will wrap it up there. Thanks very much, everybody, for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.